أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Lesson number 172, Surah Al-Muminun. وَالَّذِينَ, and those whom they, لِلزَّكَاةِ, for the purification, فَاعِلُونَ, ones who do. Meaning they perform zakat. They do zakat. What does it mean by zakat? Zakat literally means to improve something, to make something good, to do its islah. And it also means to make something grow, to nurture something. And remember that zakat has two components in it. First of all, takhliyah. It is to purify from bad. So for example, from the nafs, it is to purify it of evil habits, evil desires, bad thoughts. Similarly, purification of the wealth includes taking out the haram from it. So the first thing is takhliyah, removing the evil. And secondly, it includes tahliyah, to increase in goodness, to beautify. So az-zakat is purification. And remember that az-zakat, it includes two things over here. Zakatul nafs and zakatul mal. What is zakatul nafs? That when a person is purifying his nafs of evil and he is developing good qualities in himself. He's getting rid of bad habits, bad words, and he is developing good habits, good vocabulary, polite speech. And secondly, zakat means zakatul mal, which is that giving the zakat on one's wealth. But remember that this is a Makki surah, and zakat was obligated in Medina. This is why it has been said that zakat over here gives the meaning of purification. So, and fa'ilun, plural of fa'il, what does this word indicate? That they're constantly busy cleansing, purifying, improving themselves. Fa'ilun, they're ones who do this. Not just once in a while, but fa'ilun, this is a habit. This is a constant habit, that they're constantly nurturing themselves, growing their iman, improving their behavior, increasing in their knowledge. They're not stagnant. And when a person is like this, only then he can stay away from love. Only then he can avoid useless things. So we see that tazkiyah of the soul, purification of the soul, is to take the bad things out from the heart and replace them with what? With good things. When a person is busy beautifying his inner self. And remember that this is not just a one-step thing, that a person just does it once and it's over. That now he has purified his nafs and now he can do whatever he wishes. No. Remember that this is an ongoing lifetime process. It never comes to an end. Because every single day, what happens? We make a mistake. Every single day, we suffer some decrease in iman, or some lack of khushu' in salah, or lack of honesty in our words. We experience all of these things. So zakat is that a person is constantly trying to get rid of bad things and he is trying to inculcate good things. So this is a way of reforming oneself, and this is a constant way. This is a way of life. This is a habit. So وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ لِلزَّكَاةِ فَاعِلُونَ. They save themselves from sins, they save themselves from shirk, from bad language, bad habits, and they focus on adopting good qualities. We learn in Surah Al-A'la, ayah number 14, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ تَزَكَّى. The one who purifies himself has certainly succeeded. Over here, what do we learn? قَدْ أَفْلَحَ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ. And all of their qualities is وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ لِلزَّكَاةِ فَاعِلُونَ. In Surah Al-Shams, ayah 9 to 10 also we learn قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ زَكَّاهَا وَقَدْ خَابَ مَنْ دَسَّاهَا. He has succeeded who purifies the nafs, and he has failed who instills it with corruption. If a person is consuming, is indulging in lagh, then what will happen? That will become a part of his life. Isn't it so? Remember that lagh, what does it include? Fuhsh, right? So if a person is busy indulging himself in lagh, in fuhsh, then he will not be able to do tazkiyah. He will not be able to stay clean. He will not be able to purify himself. He will not be able to cleanse himself. Before you can clean something, you have to stop the influx of evil. You have to stop the evil coming in. Isn't it so? Like for example, if you want to clean your house, then there are people walking in with muddy shoes. What do you have to do? Can you start sweeping and mopping while people are coming in with their muddy shoes? No. You have to stop them. You have to tell them, take your shoes off at the door, and then you can come in. You have to stop the evil coming in. Only then you can clean. So if love is a part of a person's life, useless, nonsensical things are constantly a part of his life, can he purify himself? Can he grow himself? Can he spiritually strengthen himself? It's not possible. وَالَّذِينَ And those whom they, لِفُرُوجِهِمْ For their private parts, حَافِظُونَ Ones who guard. Furuj is the plural of farj. And farj is the private part of a person. And it applies to both the male as well as the female. So, حَافِظُونَ They guard, they protect, they look after their private parts. How? How? Protecting them from what? From unlawful ways of fulfilling the sexual desire. So they protect their private parts from haram, from unlawful ways. As I mentioned to you earlier, that love, it includes fuhsh. If a person indulges in fuhsh, if he's watching fuhsh, if he's listening to fuhsh, if he's talking about fuhsh, if he's staring at fuhsh, eventually what's going to happen? He will begin to desire it, and he will also do it. Because remember that whatever a person looks at, that is where he goes. Whatever you are staring at, automatically your feet will take you there. Like for example, if a person is driving, wherever he is looking, that is where he will go. That's what many drivers say. I remember once one of my friends, she was learning how to drive, and she saw a puppy, and she thought it was very cute. So just to look at where the puppy was going, she didn't even realize, and she turned the car. She took it onto the curb without even thinking. So this is a reality. Wherever your eyes are looking, that is where your feet will take you. So if a person is watching fuhsh, if a person is listening to fuhsh, if a person is indulged in it, then obviously that is what that will lead him to. But we see over here that chastity, keeping yourself pure of haram relations, this is the prerequisite of entering Jannah. This is a prerequisite of what? Of attaining falah. And from this ayah, we also see that tazkiyah, purification, does not just include purification of the mind. It does not just include purification of the habits, but it also includes purification of the body, of desires, of marital relations, of physical relations. And those people who are successful, who are truly successful, they are the ones who keep themselves pure in every aspect of their lives. They strengthen themselves, they improve themselves in every aspect of their lives. People who are truly successful. Which is why we see that there are people who may be very successful financially, who may be world famous, who may have excellent careers, but they're accused of having an affair. They're accused of cheating their wives. They're accused of having attempted to rape someone. Are they successful? They're not successful. All their success goes down the drain. All the work that they have done, all the services that they have offered to people, all the inspiration that they have given to people, all of that is wasted. Even in this dunya. When a person does not keep his physical relation, his marital relations clean. If he does not keep them clean, if he does not purify himself in sexual affairs, then remember, a person cannot achieve success. So one of the conditions of success is what? وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ لِفُرُوجِهِمْ حَافِظُونَ. And remember that the matters of the private part, they are a secret between a person and his Lord. Isn't it so? They're a secret between a person and his Lord. And a person can do things behind other people's back. In privacy, he can watch porn. In privacy, he can do things with his private part which are unacceptable, like for instance a secret habit. In privacy, he can establish haram relations. However, the one who truly fears his Lord, the one who will have khushu' in his salah, he will stay away from all of these things. Even this aspect of his life will be clean. even this aspect of his life will be pure and correct, the way Allah wants it to be. And we see that our religion, it is a realistic and a practical one. It is a pure religion. This is why, where the command has been given to protect the private part, it does not mean to protect it completely in the sense that a person does not establish any physical relations with someone. No, this is unrealistic. What is meant by protecting the private part is protecting it from what? From haram, from ways that are unlawful. This is why the next ayah tells us, إِلَّا عَلَىٰ أَزْوَاجِهِمْ, except for their wives. Meaning they protect their private parts from haram, from doing anything haram, whether it is zina, or it is homosexuality, or it is the secret habit, masturbation. All of these things they avoid. The only way that they fulfill their sexual desire is how? إِلَّا عَلَىٰ أَزْوَاجِهِمْ, only with their spouses, to whom they are married to, with whom there is a relationship of nikah. إِلَّا عَلَىٰ أَزْوَاجِهِمْ, and this is the only way. أَوْ, or مَا مَلَكَتْ أَيْمَانُهُمْ, that which their right hands possess. What does it refer to? Slave women. Remember, مَا مَلَكَتْ أَيْمَانُهُمْ over here only refers to slave women. And this was at the time when slavery was there. It was common. However, now, since this is not the case, this command does not apply. So, إِلَّا عَلَىٰ أَزْوَاجِهِمْ أَوْ مَا مَلَكَتْ أَيْمَانُهُمْ فَإِنَّهُمْ غَيْرُ مَلُومِينَ, then indeed they are not ones who are blameworthy. Malumeen is a plural of malum, from the root letters lam, waw, mim, laum. And laum is used for blaming someone, condemning someone. For what? For something that they have done. So malum is one who is blameworthy, one who is condemned, one who is reproached. So if they establish relations with their spouses, with their slave women, and that is only possible in the case of men, then in that case, they are not blameworthy. Because if they are fulfilling their sexual desire, they are doing so in a manner that is permissible, in a manner that is approved by the Sharia. So what do we see over here? The beauty of our religion. That nikah is encouraged. Nikah is given preference. And monasticism, it is not permissible. That if a person says, I'm not going to get married, I'm not going to have a wife, even if I have a wife, I'm not going to have any relations with her, this is not purity. This is not purification. This is not piety. What is piety? Following the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. The Prophet ﷺ said, "An-nikahu min sunnati." Nikah is of my way. And following the sunnah is an obligation upon us. So if a person gets married, if a person has relations with his spouse, then obviously there is nothing wrong with it. Rather, this is something that will bring reward to a person. What is forbidden is what? Establishing haram relationships. Whether it is through zina or any other way. That is what is not permissible. And remember that over here what is mentioned is إِلَّا عَلَىٰ أَزْوَاجِهِمْ. Who is a zawj? The husband or the wife. Someone with whom there is a relationship of nikah. And what is nikah? That when the man takes responsibility of looking after the woman, being responsible for her, being her qawwam, and at the same time, he is also allowed to enjoy her sexually. And obviously she is allowed to do the same. But we see that nikah is a relationship. It's a relationship. It's not just a physical relationship that is established between two people, but it's a social relationship where two people have taken responsibility of one another. They will remain sincere, loyal, and faithful to one another. They will fulfill each other's rights and responsibilities. They will give the haqq to one another. This is the spirit of marriage. And if a person uses some other way to have relationships with another person, that is not permissible. So for example, there is a type of nikah which is known as nikah mut'ah. And what is that? that a man gets married to a woman, it's just a contract, and it is for a limited amount of time. That he will marry her, let's say for only 2 days. And at the end of 2 days, the marriage is going to be dissolved. It's going to be finished. But for those 2 days, he can enjoy her sexually, and he will give her a mahr. Is this any different from prostitution? No. This is equivalent to prostitution. That you stay with a person for 2 days, for a week, as long as you want to, and you give them some money. This is why this is not permissible. It is haram. It was a tradition in the days of ignorance. And in the early part of Islam, it was made permissible. However, later on, at the conquest of Makkah, the Prophet ﷺ forbade it. This is why it's not permissible to do this kind of nikah today. Similarly, there's another type of nikah, nikah misyar, in which two people, a man and a woman, they will get married to one another. However, they will willingly give up their rights. Like, for example, the woman says, you don't have to provide me any accommodation. You don't have to take care of my expenses. You don't have to live with me. If you have a wife already, you don't have to give us equal share. No. A woman willingly gives up her rights. However, when the man wishes, he can go and enjoy her sexually. This is the only relationship between the two. Tell me, is this the spirit of marriage? No. This is not the spirit of marriage. We have learned in great detail in Surah Al-Baqarah, in Surah Al-Nisa, about what marriage is about. وَعَاشِرُوهُنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ. You have to live with a woman to call her your wife. You cannot just say you live in the same city, just at the other end. Whenever I want you, I'll give you a call, you come over, and then you go. And although some scholars have permitted it, some scholars, others have said that this is immoral. And this is not the way that our religion wants women to be or men to be. No woman who is righteous will enter into a relationship like this. So what do we see over here? That إِلَّا عَلَىٰ أَزْوَاجِهِمْ, the word zawj has been used. And zawj is not just someone with whom you have a contract and they have given up their rights, or you have just taken them for a week or two. No, zawj is someone with whom you are in a relationship with. You're living with them. They are affiliated with you in a way. They're connected with you. You are their identity and they are your identity. So with this person only, sexual relations are permissible. فَمَنِ ابْتَغَى, then whoever desires, وَرَاءَ ذَلِكَ, beyond that, beyond what? ذَلِكَ refers to sexual relations established with the wife, or مَا مَلَكَتْ أَيْمَانُهُمْ. Anyone who goes beyond that, فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْعَادُونَ, then those, they're the transgressors. What are they transgressing? The laws, the bounds, the limits that the Sharia has set. So if a person goes beyond nikah, meaning he does something else to fulfill his sexual desire, other than nikah, then is that permissible? No. So these verses, they show us that nikah is the only correct approach. And to seek any other way beyond that is not allowed. Such as fornication, homosexuality, masturbation, or any other way which Allah has forbidden. We learn in Surah Al-Shu'ara, ayah 165, that Lut alayhi salam, he said to his people, أَتَأْتُونَ الذُّكْرَانَ مِنَ الْعَالَمِينَ, do you approach males among the worlds? Meaning you fulfill your desires with men like you. This is not permissible. In Surah Al-Ma'arij, ayah 29 to 31, we learn, وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ لِفُرُوجِهِمْ حَافِظُونَ إِلَّا عَلَىٰ أَزْوَاجِهِمْ أَوْ مَا مَلَكَتْ أَيْمَانُهُمْ فَإِنَّهُمْ غَيْرُ مَلُومِينَ فَمَنِ ابْتَغَى وَرَاءَ ذَلِكَ فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْعَادُونَ. The same thing is mentioned over there. But it is sad to say that within the Muslim communities today, the society, the culture has made nikah so difficult. It has made nikah so impossible. And at the same time, haram is made so easy. It is made so simple. If a person wishes to get married, they have to fulfill a list of conditions. And only when they have fulfilled them, then they can get married. And if they cannot fulfill them, they can never get married. And on the other hand, if they want to go do haram, they can do that so easily. So easily a person can do haram. And many times marriage is delayed, or boys or girls are not allowed to get married. Why? Because they have not found the perfect suitor. They have not found the perfect man or woman. And what is our definition of perfect? The most ideal, extremely beautiful, tall and handsome, with a good job, with a good car, should be living independently, should have nothing to do with their parents, not responsible for them at all, should have the blue passport, should not have the green passport. This is our condition, right? These are our conditions. And if a person meets these conditions, only then they are accepted. And along with that, obviously, they have to belong to a certain family. They have to come from a certain race. All of these conditions, they make marriage difficult. They make marriage extremely difficult. And I don't understand how parents can tell their children, no, you cannot get married right now. If your son is above 20, you think he does not have desire? When he watches so many things in this country, how much can he lower his gaze? Even if he lowers his gaze, how much can he protect himself? How can you pretend that he does not have any desires? He does not have any hormones in himself. How can you ignore that? When a person is past the age of 20, especially in this country, you cannot avoid marriage for too long. And you cannot have excuses such as, no, you still don't have a job, you still haven't completed your degree, you still haven't done this, you still haven't done that. No, these are not genuine reasons. These are not genuine excuses. And remember that if somebody wishes to get married and they are prevented without a genuine reason, and if they end up doing something haram, yes, they are held accountable, but at the same time, their parents are also accountable. Because they are the ones who have made halal so difficult for them. The problem is that we want everything to be perfect in this dunya. We want that the marriage ceremony, the wedding ceremony, it should be perfect, and the guy has to make a lot of money before that, and the dress of the girl has to be from this country, and she has to go and make it herself and choose it herself, the fabric, and the crystals, and this and that, and the shoes, and the decor, and everything has to be so perfect, that because of that we spend years in getting married. And until then, so much haram, so much damage has already been done. Isn't it so? That we see people who are engaged. They're desperate. Just get our nikah done, please. No nikah. Only engagement. And they're talking to one another, exchanging pictures with one another. Is that permissible? No. Remember, engagement does not mean they have become halal on one another. No way does it mean they're halal on one another, even if the marriage is only 1 hour away. So, unnecessarily, because of these unrealistic standards that we have set, we make halal so difficult. We make halal so impossible that because of us, people are falling into haram. So we have to become extremely careful. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has told us, وَمَا جَعَلَ عَلَيْكُمْ فِي الدِّينِ مِنْ حَرَجٍ. Allah has not placed any difficulty for you in the religion. Our religion is so simple. It is so easy. We have made it difficult for ourselves. We learned at the time of the Prophet ﷺ, there was a companion who got married. And when he came to the Prophet ﷺ, he had no idea he had gotten married. And he saw some color, some dye on his clothes. And he said, what is this? He said, I got married. The Prophet said, you didn't invite me? He didn't say anything like that. Our problem is that if we're getting married, we have to invite these many people. In order to invite these many people, we have to have this much money. And because I don't have this much money, I have to work for these many months. And only then I can accommodate these many people. Because if I don't call this person, they're going to mind. They won't invite me. They won't give me a gift. And because of that, we've made our lives so difficult. And we see that the Prophet ﷺ, he gave us a very simple guideline with regards to marriage. He said that a woman may be married for 4 reasons. For her wealth, for her status, for her beauty, and for her religion. What did he say? Marry the one who is best in their religion and prosper. Be successful. Because if you marry somebody for their property, for their wealth, remember that wealth, they can lose it any time, any moment. It's happened with so many people. They have so much money and within days, gone, finished. If you marry someone for their beauty, then remember that that beauty also will not be permanent. It will eventually leave. Just wait until the woman becomes pregnant and she's lost her figure. No matter how much she tries to maintain it, she's lost it. Similarly, people marry others for their status, for their rank. And many times what happens? With that rank, with that status comes a lot of arrogance and pride, which only adds difficulty to life. So we see that when nikah, Allah has made it so simple. When the Prophet ﷺ taught us a very simple way, we should keep it like that. We should not make life difficult. That story that I mentioned to you yesterday, now don't have a very high standard for a potential spouse. That he must pray all night and he must fast every single day, he must be the hafiz of Quran, and he must do this and this. Because unfortunately even girls have unrealistic expectations. And this is very sad. And I'll tell you openly, because so many times it happens with girls that men who propose to them, they are righteous men, they are decent men. But just because they have this accent, just because they come from that country, just because they don't have this kind of a job, this is why I cannot get married to them. This is not a genuine reason. Be realistic. Are you as perfect as you want your spouse to be? No, you're not. So, if somebody righteous is coming, accept it. And inshallah, Allah will put barakah. He will put khair. And He is the raziq. He can provide from where you cannot even imagine. مَن يَتَّقِ اللَّهَ يَجْعَلْ لَهُ مَخْرَجًا وَيَرْزُقْهُ مِنْ حَيْثُ لَا يَحْتَسِبُ. He will provide him from where he cannot even imagine. So this is something that we must remember. If a boy says that he wishes to get married, parents will say, how dare you even think about it? We didn't even think about marriage until we had a job. And you haven't even finished your school and you're saying you want to get married? And the fact is that, especially when you have studied the Quran, you won't find many men who have also studied the Quran. Because these kind of courses, yes, they're available for women, but unfortunately, very few men take the time to study the Quran the way you are studying, because they have so many other responsibilities. So many times women want a man who is very educated in their religion, very righteous, very pious, very this, very that. But the fact is that when they don't know, how can you expect them to be like your dream man? And especially when you find a person willing to learn, willing to change, give them a chance. Perhaps you will help them. Perhaps they will get motivation from you. Perhaps they will help you learn more. Perhaps they will cooperate with you so that you can excel. And if you keep waiting for that perfect man, for that ideal person, believe me, you will not find one. We don't do those things ourselves, and we want those qualities in the other person. So be realistic. وَالَّذِينَ, and those whom they لِأَمَانَاتِهِمْ, for their trusts, وَعَهْدِهِمْ, and their promises, رَاعُونَ, they're ones who are attentive. Amanat is a plural of amana. And amana is from the root letters Hamza, Mim, Noon. And what is amana? Every kind of responsibility that a person is given. That is what amana is. Every kind of responsibility that a person is given. Whether it is in the matters of deen or it is in the matters of dunya. Whether it is a responsibility that has been given to us from Allah, like for example, to pray salah, to give the zakat, to speak the truth. Or it is a responsibility that has been given to us from people. Like for example, a person gives you something to look after for them. A person gives you a task to do. The teacher gives homework. This is what? An amana. And remember that amana, it includes one's own body. Because our body is what? A trust that has been given to us by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It includes children. Because children are amana that have been given to us by who? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It includes our wealth, the money that Allah has given to us. It includes our duties, our job, the responsibilities that are imposed upon us. So amana is a very comprehensive term. It includes many things in it. And remember that, to understand it in another way, it is all the duties and the responsibilities that are imposed on a person because of a role that they are playing. For example, if a person has the role of, let's say, a child, then they have certain responsibilities on them. If a person has the role of a parent, they have certain responsibilities on them. If a person has the role of a student, of a teacher, of a boss, then they have certain responsibilities on them. So, وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ لِأَمَانَاتِهِمْ, for their trusts, the trusts that Allah has imposed on them, or that have been deposited with them by people. وَعَهْدِهِمْ, and also their promises. Ahd is every responsibility that a person takes on himself willingly. Amana is what? It's given on you. It's put on you, whether you like it or not. Do you understand? And ahd is something, a responsibility that you take upon yourself by your own choice. Like for example, if Allah gives you a child, do you have any choice with regards to that? You say, no, I don't want to take care of this child. Can you do that? No. Similarly, if a person is a student, can they say, no, I don't take the amana of doing the lesson 7 times? No. Once you're a student, you have to do it. This is amana. And ahd is what? That you promise, okay, you want me to do this? You want me to say this? You want me to buy this? I will do it. So you see the difference between amana and ahd? Amana is that is imposed on you by others. No getting out of it. Ahd is that you took it upon yourself. And again, ahd could be made with Allah, it could be made with people. So ahd, for example, it includes aqdun nikah, the contract of marriage. It includes the nadr, the vows that a person makes. It includes commitments that a person has made, or an appointment that a person has made with someone. So وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ لِأَمَانَاتِهِمْ وَعَهْدِهِمْ رَاعُونَ. They're ones who are attentive, meaning they look after them. And ra'un is a plural of ra'i. Who is ra'i? A shepherd. And remember that a shepherd has to look after his animals. How? Just like the farmer has to look after his field. Every single day. He cannot say, you stay in the barn today, I'll take you out for pasture next week. No. He has to take them out every single day. Whether he likes it or not. Whether he's old or young. Whether he's busy or he has a lot of free time. And ra'i includes watching with a lot of care. Looking after something with a lot of attention. Because when the animals are being taken care of, you have to provide them food. And at the same time, you have to protect them from the enemy. From that which is harmful for them. Isn't it so? You have to provide them food. You have to make sure that they're doing well. They're not ill. They're not sick. They're healthy. There's no infection. They have to be taken out. They have to be brought back in. Their numbers have to be counted. So much has to be done. So this is what ra'i is. So for their trusts and their promises, they properly keep them. They properly discharge them. They're not neglectful concerning them. Rather, they perform them properly. The Prophet ﷺ said, Ayatul munafiqi salas. إِذَا حَدَّثَ كَذَبَ وَإِذَا وَعَدَ أَخْلَفَ وَإِذَا تُمِنَ خَانَ. The signs of the hypocrite are 3. When he speaks, he lies. When he makes a promise, he breaks it. And when he is entrusted with something, he betrays that trust. So if a person wants to be successful, then what should he do? He must work hard, he must struggle, and he must try to fulfill all of his responsibilities and duties. This is a prerequisite to success in dunya and akhirah.